the SM Media Podcast Network. Hi folks, and welcome to the latest episode of Golf Talk right here on SM Media. I'm Scottie Pike. It is a pleasure to be your host as always, and the Open Championship is in the history books for 2025. The majors are in the book for 2025. To join me to look back on a very good Open Championship, it is always a pleasure to welcome Andy Fulham.
Hi Scott, yeah, thanks for inviting me back on again. Brilliant. Brilliant week, so really looking forward to talking about it.
The title of the show and a very good quote from Rory McIlroy. He's inevitable, isn't he? It's a perfect analogy.
Aye, he's. I'm sure we'll run out of good things to say about him in this episode, but yeah, he's just relentless. Just inevitable is a great word. That's the kind of, what is he, 10 for 10 when holding a 54-hole lead? I mean,
that's incredible.
If that's not Tiger-like, then I don't know what is.
We'll probably bring up Tiger in terms of the comparison, because the comparison is there to be made, right? And it's a very different golfing landscape than it was back in early 2000s when, let's say, Tiger winning his first Open in 2000. It's 25 years on. Scottie's the first world number one at the time to win the Open since Tiger in 06 at Hoylake. So, the comparisons are there. The winning machine that he has become, that people did doubt. There was a lot of people saying that in the run-up to this week, that there was a bit of pressure on him in the early stages. I remember very specifically at the start of 2022. I don't know if we did a show at the start of 2022, but we did some form of predictions, and one of us did say Scottie Scheffler could do well this season. But we didn't at that point think, and I don't think anybody thought this guy was going to become the machine, the force that he's become. And it is almost superhuman, because he just, as we said it off air, it's not like he's genuinely like the coolest, calmest superstar you can get. There's no ego whatsoever.
No, he's almost an unwanted superstar from his point of view.
Yeah.
He seems to love I think he's really good round about the guys. I think he's a great time we had Tom Lee yesterday.
Yeah.
It's been great fun. And I think he enjoys that side of it, and competing. He said before that he loves competing and he loves beating other guys, and that's what drives him on, and he hates losing and all. But the other kind of trappings that come with being a superstar like he is in the sport, I don't think he's really bothered about it. You seen that in his interview last night. They were desperately trying to draw something out of him. I think Sarah Sturck from Sky Sports says, you said you've not been, not sampled Portrush yet. Will you be there tonight? And he said no, so we'll just be going home. Basically, he's just that's the type of guy he is, and it's very much he was discussing it's his job, and I think that's how he sees it. And when he's finished his round, that's it, parked. He goes home to his family and he plays his wee boy and different. It's a fascinating thing. I think where the comparisons are drawn with Tiger ability wise, but you probably couldn't have a more polar opposite personality. Rory as well. Rory had this destiny all through his career that he managed to achieve it at the Masters. Tiger always went on about Jack's record from a young age. He had that to do. He doesn't. He just doesn't have that, And the whole his interview at the start of the week, it was quite controversial. A lot of people, I think, maybe took it a wee bit too, or maybe the wrong way, in the fact that he was saying basically it's his job. It doesn't really mean a lot. It's 10 minutes after he's done, he's on, and he perhaps it's finished. He perhaps didn't word it very well, but you can kind of see where he's coming from. For him, it's like ticked off. Right, next, what's next? I'm going home to dinner with my family. Then what's next? Where am I playing next week?
I just want to fling some stats, like, again, and I do I do kind of look at this and think, are we in an era where this is just acceptable? And I want to throw another comparison just to see what you think, because I think it's a good weekend to do this. Like, 2022 wins 4 times, like February, March, 2 in March, and then obviously wins the Masters. 2 wins in 2023. Last season was almost superhuman, just the winning machine. I think it was 7 wins, winning the Players' Championship, winning the Masters, winning the Tour Championship at the end. The way he won the PGA was just so cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then just he goes into the Open, and I wanted to throw a comparison at you to see what you thought, because I wanted to touch on Tiger as well, but it was the same weekend as Alexander Usyk in boxing.
Mm-hmm.
And the kind of comparison I'm going to draw is that I don't think both are like Tyson and Woods, where they're just iconic figures and they've got those kind of like the canvas. I mean, I've got a canvas of Tiger right in front of me. I've got one of Tyson somewhere else, where it's just moments.
Mm-hmm.
Scheffler and Usyk, I think, are just so good. There's no weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
And when you've got players like that, yes, like for a mainstream audience, it might not be as cool, but they're just so good at their job and so good to watch for the hardcore fans like us. That to me is a good way to summarise it. Like,
Yeah.
he's just so good. I mean, he's
Yeah.
a stats machine. And we were coming into last year going, if only he could putt. And
I've got a great about his putting. Since moving to the TaylorMade Spider mallet, he's earned just under $78 million.
It's honestly unbelievable.
In 2023, he was 160 folks gained putting. Now he's top 25 putter, and he was, I think, number 1 and number 2 this week. Simply put, when his ball striking's that good, that when he puts well, he wins, or even if he puts half decent, he wins.
And the other thing, his driver wasn't great all week. It wasn't what it usually is. Like, his ball striking was unbelievable, and his scrambling is still like probably the best thing about his game. But the putter this week, he was just on it.
Yeah, it's a whole package. I mean, that's the other scary thing. If you are one of his competitors, was that his A+ game this week? No, I don't think it was.
I don't think so.
And that's the scary thing. It's just a canter. He won, really. He's so strong mentally, and again, in a different way from Tiger. Tiger was intimidating. Tiger was with his physique.
Tiger changed the game. Tiger changed.
Yeah, and the other thing as well, I wanted to put on it. He's the only real golfing comparison you can make, with them. But they're polar opposites. But Tiger he came through and he burst onto the scene, really. I mean, he, what you say, transcended the sport. He was the most famous sportsman in the world at one point. Just box office everywhere. The type of golf he played, it was explosive. Scheffler's almost the total opposite of that. But golf-wise, his mental strength is so comparable, and such a different. It's fascinating to look at the two of them. But you could also argue that when Tiger came out, instantly he was 30 years longer than everybody else, bar John. I mean, it just was. So that courses weren't ready. He just absolutely cleaned up. Scheffler's in an era where anyone can win. When they tee up, anyone can win. I mean, Haitong Lee he'd been a surprise winner, but he's a proven winner on tour. Chris Gotterup won last week. Harris English has won on tour before. Not household names, but winners. Whereas, in Tigers, okay, Ernie Els, Vijay Singh, Montgomery, Westwood, all these kind of guys who are also world class players as well. But he had such an advantage.
There was a level, yeah.
And then they started to catch up. Scheffler, guys will blow it miles past him, but he's long enough. And to dominate in this era, I never thought we'd ever see it again after Tiger, I must admit.
And the other thing as well is, and that this was the kind of thing all week, is that there was one mistake I can remember, which was yesterday, where he hit the lip of I think it was the fourth, I think. Remember the one he double bogeyed?
I think it was 7 or 8, I think it was.
Yeah, eighth it was, yeah. And he birdies the ninth. And you're like,
Yeah,
and
I know.
there was no doubt at all. There was like, even, I remember I text somebody on Tuesday to say he's already 2-1. And I was thinking, like, I might just get in now because, like, if he gets in front, and the Friday was exceptional, and it was, you said, like, I think I texted you during Friday. I don't think he's 100%. Like, I still think there's another two gears in
Yeah.
him, and he was just, it was probably the most effortless 64 I've ever seen.
In that situation as well,
Yeah,
I mean, I think it was a perfect storm for him. There wasn't a lot of wind. The conditions were pretty benign. It didn't play all that linksy, if you know what I mean.
nah.
But that was the same for everyone in the field, and he won by 4. Like I said, at an absolute canter. I mean, you just felt if he had to, he would have been, he could have went 2 or 3 shots better. But again, he did. He doesn't seem to have that. If that was Woods, you're almost he's just wanting to stamp all over everyone. I think he had obviously his own goals on the day. You've seen that with his fist pump when he hold that putt for par and 6. You've seen that kind of fist as if to say, right, I'm not giving anything back. But then he just did not make a mistake. I mean, that 16th hole where guys were having trouble with it. I mean, 3-2s and he missed from 10 feet in the last round. I mean, it's just absolute top quality
And
ball.
again, like the second, where like a lot of guys were, yeah, I think Fitzpatrick go eagle. I think Friday, Saturday. Scheffler parred it all 4 days. Like, it's unbelievable. I did, like, again, like, and I did think this was maybe a few people talking about just how, like, exceptional he was. I did see a few people, like, on Twitter, maybe like halfway during Sunday, going, he's only 3 away for like with Stensen's 20 under and 264. And I was thinking, like, Tiger would have been the only
Yeah.
thing he was thinking about going down the back nine. I don't think Scheffler's built like that. And there was a brilliant tweet from a friend of the show, Michael McEwen, obviously at Bunkered. He had said something that I've thought about and ever since, and I'm like, yeah, he's absolutely right. If you look at a Tiger showreel, right, they're some of the greatest shots you'll ever see, but they followed bad shots.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Scheffler's showreel is, there's very few. Like, there's very few that come for bad shots, and again, it is that he's so different, and just like Tiger was a beast in terms
Yeah.
of what he could do. But there's times where the erratic Tiger would show up, and like the 16th, the famous 16th shot. Go and watch the tee shot.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
Well,
mean?
look at
Like,
some of his opening tee shots
yeah,
and Ryder Cups and in major were horrendous,
yeah,
absolutely
like,
horrendous. But I think that's where he got to a level where he knew where he was, and he knew he's a superstar. And there's certain, I'm not saying I'm one of the biggest Tiger fans you'll find, and he's an absolute hero golf wise. But you look back and you see them all. He knew they were moments, and he did kind of obviously play it to the crowd, play it as part of his brand, all that. Some unbelievable shots. I mean, just mental, talented shots. But Scheffler's, I mean, it's like somebody had said at the 16th, that shot he hit in there. If that's Tiger, he's club twirling, he's walking after it, he's making it an iconic shot. That was a
yeah,
phenomenal shot.
yeah.
He's,
The
he's
first,
sec-
the one at the first,
second shot of the first,
yeah,
exactly.
like,
If that's Tiger, he's staring it down, he's staring at his opponent. Scheffler's just like, it's so matter of fact, and I think it all comes back to the fact that he treats this as his job. This
yeah,
is just what he does. You
yeah.
could be a brilliant, you could be a brilliant carpet fitter. You go in and you fit some brilliant carpets, and then you go home to your wife. He's just a brilliant golfer, and then he goes home to his wife. That's as as much as I can make sense of it. Really.
Do you think there was an element as well with the I go back to that double bogey where when he missed the putt for bogey, you could hear a few yeses in the background. I'm not a fan of that in golf,
No.
but like there was definitely a right. If anybody's going to mount a challenge, they were trying to like Rory.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
there was a brilliant tweet going about, and I'm not like advocating this, but there was like, what would Rory need to shoot to win? And it was like he would need to shoot Scottie, and it's like it's
Oh,
true. It's
oh, oh.
but I don't. I think Rory had a decent week. Like
Yeah.
there was a lot of pressure on him, and again, like the way he was. I mean, the support he got all week was exceptional, but it was a kind of classic Rory week where he started
Mm.
okay, and then particularly in Saturday, like he did, I mean, shoot 68, 69, 68, and then a final round of like 69. Like it was just a really
Yeah.
solid week. But in tied seven, like I think he would have took that at the start of the week. Like
Yeah. I
just,
think I think if like so if you take Scheffler out of it, it was a great tournament.
oh
You
yeah,
know, something
definitely,
like Harris English had won it at 13 under, and he finishes 10. I think there'd have been a huge amount of regret there. But
yeah,
I think he said he was trying to soak up the atmosphere as best he could, and you seen him kind of acknowledging fans. And I think he knows these guys know that they're not going to win it or whatever. They're still going to try to give something to fans, and the fans are willing him on. But I think he played the part well. I
yeah.
think that I'd probably say that about him this week. Pretty. I mean, again, good week for him as it was for a couple of the British guys, but he was a bit of a hiding to nothing. You know, I think he treated it well. It was a homecoming, his kind of crowning. He put up a good performance. It was nice to see him making a real good run at it, but
Yeah,
kind of wasn't to be a couple of times.
I thought the course played pretty well. Like, again, it was I think Portrush, not maybe the iconic status of like St Andrews or like
Mm-hmm.
Troon, but it's getting there. And I think as well, you saw how packed it was. It's definitely here to stay, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's a one to
that's
have a
a
look.
money making machine for the RNA. So definitely, nearly 300,000 there. So this week, so you're definitely here to stay. And yeah, like it'd be nice to see it a bit of breeze. I think some of the tee shots, especially around about the turn, are pretty tough. And it would have been nice to see because some of them did struggle with even a little bit of breeze, so it could be a bit of a different proposition if the wind did blow. But visually, looks fantastic. And yeah, I think a lot of the players were happy with it as well. So now I look forward to the next one there.
Scheffler did the PGA and Open double. Remember the last player to do that?
He always asks me stuff like that. Tiger, no.
Scheffler last year.
Oh, of course he did. Of course he did. Aye, sure.
And
And
like
he's still
again,
anyone player of the year.
he had a really good week actually.
Yes, yes.
He did well. Bryson, like
Yeah.
I mean, Thursday, like he was nowhere, and then by, I mean, he's not. I mean, if Scheffler wasn't there, he probably would have been out of it. But I
Mm.
actually was astonished just how popular he is over here. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it just shows power of YouTube, stuff like
yeah,
that. The way the kind of media coverage is kind of going and things like that. But yeah, I fantastic comeback from. I mean, that everyone just kind of expect him to kind of just leave quietly and Friday afternoon and that'd be him. But no, he hung in there really well and good to see. I mean, he'll gain a lot from that. Interesting to hear his interview after his round on Sunday and talking about Scheffler, and he said he wasn't this good in college. He said I used to
yeah.
take care of him quite a
So
lot.
Spieth
He
saying that
said,
as
but
well. Yeah,
he's now set the benchmark, and it's up to me now to get on. I think that's for the mindset from a lot of the top players have got to be. They've got someone to shoot now. There's an undisputed number one player, so he's somebody to shoot at. But yeah, fantastic comeback from him.
yeah. Just a few Scheffler stats before we get into maybe talk about some other players. Just like again, that shows how special he is. Like a total of 1,197 days elapsed between Tiger winning at the Masters in '97, between his fourth win at the 2000 Open, and it was a total of 1,197 days between Scheffler's 2022 Masters win and his win at the 2025 Open. Like, that's an image in itself, like, just in terms of the comparison. Scheffler, the fourth player to, after Gary Player, Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods, to win the Masters, US PGA and Open before he turns 30. And he can go for the Grand Slam at Shinnecock Hills at the US Open, and he turns 30 on the final day at the US Open. So, like,
interested to see how he deals with the pressure on that. I mean, it seemed like Rory, the amount of pressure he was under. He went so long. I don't know whether it will affect him or not. I don't even think he'll be. I'm not saying he'll not be that bothered. I think that's a very easy accusation to fling at him, but how he handles it will be, that sense of history and stuff like that will be very interesting to see. There, but he'll probably win the Masters by then anyway. So.
Is it boring? Do you get that angle? Because personally, watching him, I'm like, I just love watching really good sportsmen, and he fits that bill. But, like, as I say, he's not the personality that's mainstream. He's not Tiger. He's not Tyson. He's not even, like, do you know what I mean, guys like Djokovic, like really
he's
special talents. But he's so good at what he does.
Yeah, I can see how a casual viewer might have turned off yesterday because it was, basically a procession to the Open. And the style that he plays, not taking, well, certainly yesterday wasn't taking any risks and all that. I just think if you're an actual proper golf fan, you've got to find it. The more he wins, the more interesting he'll become because the bigger the story's going to get. And I think if he keeps on at this rate, fast forward another 3 or 4 years, I think will be. You'll have to watch it because it will literally be history being made.
Yeah.
So I think the more he wins, the more interesting he'll get. But I get it. He's different if he's maybe if it's tighter, and he's in the mix. I think it's more interesting, but I get it. He doesn't look like a superstar. He doesn't act like a superstar. So that's what the casual golf fans are wanting, and a lot of the golf media are wanting him to be something that he's just not, really,
Yeah, and just a few players that had a good week. We mentioned, obviously, good week for Americans. Obviously, Harris English finishing second. Chris Gotterup following up on his win at the Scottish Open. We'll maybe touch on the Americans later on when we cover that we'll make our Ryder Cup picks. Thought Bob had a good week. I thought, again, just a couple of times, maybe missing a couple of putts but again, tied seventh. I thought it would suit him. I think he did. I think he can be proud of how he did.
Another solid performance at a major, So, like we said before, like the preview, he's trending in exactly the right direction. He looks comfortable in these situations now. He'll be a measure of how far he's come is he'll be probably a bit disappointed with that, and tied seventh in the Open. So, no, he's doing everything right. And you'll be able to see close up what it takes to win these things. You need a bit of luck. Not only do you need to be fantastic that week, but you need a couple of wee breaks to go your way and take advantage of it.
Other player, I thought Fowler again. Like, obviously, I'd gave him a wee shout out last week. I thought Fowler had a good week. You mentioned, obviously, as well, the likes of McIntyre. Hovland, I thought, again, started the first couple of days, but really kind of fell off towards the end, didn't he? Like, he had a good week, a good day on Tuesday, but again, should be maybe finishing better. Who would you say who impressed you during the week that maybe deserves a mention?
Probably, from an American point of view, is Xander Schauffele, I think, starting to show a bit of form. He's really poor, but after the highs of last year, it's maybe going to be difficult to follow that up. But so a good week for him. Good to see Fitzpatrick, up there. He didn't play great yesterday. That's maybe kind of catching up with him a wee bit from his previous form. But again, good for, he certainly needs a performances with Ryder Cup.
Did you see the thing as well? And I again keep going back to Scheffler, but there was a great clip on Saturday, Phil Kenyon with Fitzpatrick, and like Fitzpatrick kind of whispered something over to him, and he was like, and there was like a thing going about. It was like you've unleashed a monster, and it was like obviously for those Phil Kenyons, obviously, but I think that's again massive strength to his game as well. Just working with Phil Kenyon, Scheffler has obviously changed him, but Fitzpatrick must have been thinking like, what have you done here?
I'm sure it was Rory who had mentioned about him changing to the Mallet.
Yeah,
famously.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone will be congratulating him for that bit of advice.
Yeah, and we're going to get to a stage, obviously, but we're not done with the golf season. We've still got kind of things like the FedEx Cup and a couple of another event coming to Scotland in the next couple of weeks as well. So we're good. We've got the Women's Scottish Open this week. It's all happening. I'm in a wee bit in Ryder Cup mode though. It's that kind of time.
Getting to the stage now. Yeah, absolutely.
And we thought we would look at our predictions for the team. We thought again this would be the week where a lot of players would state their claim. I would say a few did, as we'll get into. Start with Europe.
Aye. Will I go first?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to think there's six certainties that are already there. Like, I would just name them and you can say yes or no.
Okay.
Rory.
Yes.
Fleetwood.
Yes.
Bob.
Yes.
Tyrrell Hatton.
Mm-hmm.
Seb Straka.
Yep.
And Shane Lowry.
Yes.
Right. So they're the six at the moment who are in the automatic qualifying positions. So there'll be 6 wild cards. And you go. 6 wild cards.
A couple of easy ones. Rahm.
Yep.
Ludwig. Hovland. Justin Rose. And then I've got Fitzpatrick.
Okay.
And Rasmus Højgaard.
Oh, we're the same. We're the same.
I think really, I think the only two, I think 10 are certainties. I think up to Rose is certainty.
I think 11. I think
when you look at the other guys, guys like Matt Wallace, Thomas Dietrich won in the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
Nikolai Højgaard as well, obviously played in Rome, but I just think that you're going to pick Fitzpatrick out of that bunch. And Rasmus, I think he's number 7 in the standings, so you could argue the argument for him as he deserves. Unless there's fitness issues and stuff going into it, that would be my 12. I would go for.
Yeah, I mean, like, I do think it will be very close to Rome, and obviously you've got the continuity with Donald, and I don't think, like, I think the 11 players we mentioned who are stick-ons, they're all playing really well. Like, they're all consistent, and they've got that winning factor from 2 years ago. Like, Jordan Smith maybe could be in there as well. I think you would need to see maybe a few really make a move. The one I think Rasmus Højgaard is pretty much there for me. And again, we mentioned I think Ludwig and Victor, the combination together, I think will be the difference. But I would say that Europe are. I mean, the American team, I'll be astonished if we're in agreement in that, because I think it's so up in the air.
Yeah.
Europe, I think, is so set, and
I think that
plays.
Yeah, I think that plays into Luke Donald's hands perfectly. I think this is what he would have hoped for. I think he doesn't want a lot of flux in his team. The type of even Rasmus for Nicola. I mean, for one, nobody's probably going to know if they're any different, to be honest, because one's got slightly longer hair. But Rasmus was there anyway last year in Rome, so he was part of the team environment. So to be honest, it's each 6 and 2 3s really with him. That's probably doing a massive justice, to be honest. But he's been there. He's been part of the team setup, and I think that Luke Donald will be absolutely thrilled if that's the team he picks, or if everyone stays healthy for that.
Yeah, and obviously as well, let's go to America. I think we've 6 stick-ons. You want me to go through them again?
Right, go for it, yeah.
Scottie.
Yeah.
Xander.
Mm-hmm.
JJ Spawn,
Yeah.
Russell Henley,
Yeah.
Bryson DeChambeau,
Mm-hmm.
and Justin Thomas.
Yes.
Right, so they're in, the six are in for you.
Yes,
Right,
that's
they're in
right.
for me. Right, I'm going to ask you one name before we get into maybe talking about the other five, because I think he'll be in yours. Are we going to see Keegan Bradley play for Team USA?
I think he is, yeah. I think he'll play. I think there's already noises about, there's reports today about Donald signing the
Yeah.
amendment to captain's agreement or
I
something.
don't think it's a coincidence that Jim Furyk is there.
No, I think he's a definite. I think, and to be fair, I don't. It looks now like a bit of a foolish pick for a captain for me because with the chance, I think fast forward 5 years, great pick because he's got that fire in his belly, he's got that kind of personality, but he's simply playing. He's simply put, is he one of the 12 best American players right now? 100% he is. So he's got to play for me. He's got to play now. Will that play into Europe's hands? Who knows? Will it give him extra fire, extra pressure? I would rather have my captain being someone like a Luke Donald, to be honest, if I was a player. But it's a fascinating kind of dynamic. You're throwing it in there, especially with the way we know the atmosphere is going to be like there as well. So everyone's, sort of been intimidating for Europe. If it doesn't go well for America early doors, and especially for him, could be under immense pressure.
So we've got Keegan Bradley going.
Yes, I think so, yeah, definitely.
The other one that I think is probably guaranteed his place this week was Harris English.
Yes, I've got him down, yeah.
Okay. Right, who's your other four?
It really is a bit of a toss. Cantley, I've got him purely because
He's getting paid for
possibly, aye. Him and Schauffele make a good team.
it. Yeah.
So I think there's that. Who else have I got? Even though he's played a horrible week and he's playing poorly, I think you're going to have to have Morikawa.
Yeah, I thought so as well.
Even his form is.
He's off. It's been off a cliff.
It was dreadful at Portrush. Even watching some of the live in the range stuff, it was awful. On the range when you could track all the shots, it was terrible. So he's obviously got issues there. I think again from a parent's point of view, Spieth. I think even though form wise he's a little bit sketchy, but I think just from a form wise point of view, who does that leave me? One to go,
yeah.
It's a real, for me, it's between Griffin, Gotterup, Burns. Burns has Ryder Cup experience. Gotterup, you're kind of getting swept up a little bit in the last couple of weeks. However,
he's moved 19 places over the past 2 weeks.
Do you want players who are in form? Someone like Ben Griffin, who was looking great earlier on in the season, hasn't really done much recently. Yeah. Or do you go for someone like a Sam Burns, who, okay, it was in a losing team, but he's got Ryder Cup experience? I would probably, or Brian Harman as well, but I don't think the course is going to suit him. It's too long.
Harman was the top point scorer in 2023. Well, joint with Cantley. Yeah. So, I mean, he did do well last time. I thought he did okay because there was times where he was solid, but there are times you think, is he going to suit Bethpage? It's an interesting one. I keep saying Western Straits, but that's what it was in 21.
Aye, Bethpage. I think I'm going to go Sam Burns.
Okay.
Again, Scheffler's pal, so it's maybe a good pair in there, possibly. A bit of redemption maybe for Rome. Don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I did have Scheffler and Burns obviously played together. I do think that'll be quite an interesting development. The one that I was really close, I've went for Brian Harman and Ben Griffin. But Maverick McNeely, I think, could be a shout in there. He's a good operator. I think he won a match play maybe a year or so ago. So there's a good match play record. Has had a solid season. Wyndham Clark. Did you see Kevin Kistner's comments about that?
Yeah, I thought that was a bit.
That was.
Aye, what happens in the locker room should stay in the locker room. We don't
Yeah.
smack up the locker room, basically.
He had a decent week and didn't do too bad last time. Like get 1.5 points, won and tied one in his games in Italy. I think the Americans, I think it's very like Europe. I think is set in stone. Americans, and I don't think that is always a good thing when you've got so many places up for grabs. Like,
yeah, absolutely. It's
particularly at home.
yeah, unless someone gets in an absolute tear up between now and then, and someone like Mav McNeely or Ben Griffin or somebody who just almost a bit like what Gotterup's done. If he keeps going, then you're thinking, well, if you're Keegan Bradley, like, well, I've got to kind of put this guy's red hot, but there's a lot more to it. It's huge pressure. It's like I say, it's parents as well. It's all done and it's all analytics now. We're kind of going on form and different things, but a lot of it's by analytics for foursomes. What holes will you play? Who's the better par three player? Who's the better player on dogleg par five? All these things are it's really factored in, or it should be. Certainly, I think that's the way Europe look at it. But yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what the American team is. It's going to be strong. I mean, I think they're in a better place now than they were maybe a couple of months ago. I think some of their players are starting to show a bit, like Schauffele, like guys like Harris English, are starting to show a bit of form. So I think they're in a better place now, but it's they've got a huge pool to pick from, but they just don't really have many bursting the door down to get in.
I mean, I was going to throw a name at you, right? And he was very much he needs to have a good week this week to be in contention. And one last time the PGA was at Bethpage back was Brooks Koepka. He was woeful last week.
Yeah, you can't. I just don't think you can trust him. I don't think, and it's such a crazy thing to say when he's. I think there's maybe fitness issues here as well. Maybe, I mean, world class player. I mean, absolutely no doubt. But I just don't know if he brings a huge amount to the team room and all that as well. If he's not, he didn't last year in Rome for certain. And I think he would have to be playing, what you say, have a great week this week, or or a lot of the more established. But they've still got some good established players in there, likes of Scheffler, DeChambeau, Schauffele, Bradley will play, Justin Thomas. They've got some good established players. If you're really struggling with a very young team, you'd perhaps look at that dynamic to bring an older kind of head in. But I think he's miles away from the team if I'm Keegan Bradley.
I don't think he's there now. It was just like, well, Bradley maybe look at his record. I think it's a really interesting dynamic heading into the Ryder Cup if Keegan Bradley is going to play, which I do think is 95% likely.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
I'm just waiting on the announcement. Like, yeah, I'm going to pick myself. Like, I just think that'll be great to watch. Like,
Tiger did it at the President's Cup, if you remember, and doing in Melbourne, but again, he's it's maybe not quite as big a stage as the Ryder Cup is at Bethpage. I just think it's, like I said earlier, I think it's huge pressure on him, huge pressure, and it's people will rightly say, is this a case because you just missed out last time? Is this a don't know, would he pick Jordan Spieth, who was part of that kind of clique that kind of made him miss out the last time? I don't know. There's a few different dynamics there as well.
Spieth is a really interesting one, right? Because there was glimpses last week, but on form,
he's not really, to be honest.
like it's a really fascinating. I'm very intrigued to see what's going to happen in America, because I think for the first time, even getting into 2023, I was like, there's a world where I can see the Americans. Like, I looked at the American team and thought they looked a lot better on paper, and now I'm the complete opposite. I'm like, this European team's battle hardened. I mean, it didn't really look in doubt after the Friday in Italy.
No, they can just
Like,
commit the
they
trap.
just blitzed them in the first session, and it was 6.5, 1.5, and then Americans did get back into it to a degree, but you were never in doubt. And I could see something similar happening again, like, and I think
They're under a lot of pressure,
yeah,
because I mean, to lose the way that the Ryder Cup's going now. I mean, the last away win was what, Medina, wasn't it? Miracle Medina, right? So I mean, it's when home team by a fair margin. I know the Americans came back a little bit at Rome in Rome, sorry, but it was fairly comfortable.
the last one in America was a bit of a doing, wasn't it?
It was, yeah, and that's the way it's kind of going. So if Europe can, and I'm sure that's what Don will be saying, when the time comes, but just, try and turn these, same as a game, if you're playing football teams playing away from home and intimidating play, keep them quiet for 20 minutes, keep them quiet in the first, come out, win the first couple of games. It could all change, because it's great having partisan support, but it can also be a huge hindrance as well. And Bradley better come out and play well. That's the thing.
It's a massive pressure, and again, like, I mean, he will. And again, like, an interesting thing, like, it's pressure enough. Like, being he's still young for a Ryder Cup cap. He's 39.
Yeah,
like, it's almost like, I mean, I was surprised at the time when he was announced, but
yeah.
I mean, I think Furyk been in there. Like, I did think, as soon as I heard that, I was like, I can sort of see what's happening here, and it's the same as well. Like, do you remember a few, like you mentioned, Tiger not of Fred Couples, I think, when he was
I think as well, yeah.
And it was like, yeah, I can sort of see there's a wee bit of a theme developing here. I mean, Scheffler's already in, which I think, so's Rory.
Yeah.
They're already qualified, so it is going to be a fascinating kind of few weeks to find out. And again, like the FedEx Cup, a lot of people laugh at it and say it's a waste of time, but it's going to be key, because we're going to get a lot of players who are going to not just be using it to make a lot of money, but their places are at Bethpage in the league. It's going to be really interesting.
There's places up for grabs in their team, I would assume. And Europe's team, like you were saying, is a pretty much a lock.
Yeah.
Par. I mean, maybe Hovland's injury, maybe if he is fully fit, and possibly Rasmus Højgaard, but it's 11 out of 12 are pretty set, I would say.
I would say so.
Whereas the Americans, if someone can get go on a tear, you never know.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very fascinating few weeks. Andy, thank you very much for joining me this week and over the past couple of weeks as well. It's been an absolute pleasure, as always. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. It was good to see a bit of history being made, and I hope he's in the losing Ryder Cup team right enough, but privilege to watch him.
Yeah, and it's a Scottie world. And thank you very much to everyone that's tuned in to us as well. We'll have more golf content coming up over the next few weeks as well. Selections will be coming back maybe next week, so stay tuned for that. Thank you very much, folks. We'll see you all soon.